Hey, good morning. This is Javier Staffanel bringing you the third session, the third money session. Today is Saturday, March 19th, and we're going to be talking about money and wealth and current global climate of investments. But first, we're going to backtrack a little bit to last week. I had some emails, some messages sent to me asking me to clarify something. So last week we were talking about investing. We were talking about the long-term view of things. So your goal, what you should focus on, is trying to diversify your growing wealth into tangible long-term assets. We talked about what some of those were. Currencies is one of them. Property, anything of value that you can keep 20, 30 years and watch it appreciate. We talked about silver, gold, and there's some other things you can do that with as well. I mean, stock portfolio would also qualify. So there are going to be financial currents that are going to push the market that you're involved in one way or another, up or down. If you want to spend a lot of time having to look at your investments, making sure they're doing what you expected of them, and selling and buying, then it's going to occupy a lot of your time. You may have to change your career. You won't be able to do rainbow if you're sitting in front of the computer all the time. So I would suggest, as I said last week, investing for the long term, so you have a better sense of security that you can leave something alone without having to spend every waking minute looking at it. So invest in property. Try to buy low, and you can examine. There's a lot of market information out there on the internet that lets you know whether you're on the uptrend or the downtrend in a specific market. Because if you look at the country, across the country, it's gonna vary across the country, and some markets are hotter than others. So you have to look at your specific market. And also long term, great idea to invest in precious metals, buying silver and gold, stacking it, and we'll take a look at that in a few minutes. So today we're going to talk about money and wealth to start off, and we'll just talk about some definitions. Money is whatever assets you happen to have. It could be actual dollars in a bank account, your home, the equity that you have in your home, that's money. Wealth, or backtrack, not wealth, but currency, monetary assets that you can own that are part of your net worth. So your net worth is all of your assets minus the liabilities, or what you owe on those assets. That's your net worth. Wealth, on the other hand, is more of a mindset. It is a state of mind. Definitely financial independence is part of it, but it is also a compilation of knowledge that you acquire throughout you to achieve a balance in your life. Things such as health, achievement, confidence. Health is, of course, your well-being, your physical well-being, mental well-being. And it takes a lot of time to acquire the knowledge to eat properly, eat the right things for your specific body, because you have to kind of learn what it is that works well with you. So that's not something that you can read a book about or watch a YouTube video about. You actually have to experiment on yourself and see what works, what doesn't work, and of course read the information that you can that might help you reach that aim, that goal. The next thing, achievement, and it can be different things. It doesn't necessarily have to be financial success through work and that type of achievement. It can be your volunteer work that fulfills you. Work, of course, or your family members' achievements, the achievement of your children, graduating college, jobs, families, grandchildren, etc. And of course, confidence. And confidence is more of an aura that you carry with you. It's a quiet elegance, it's class, it's knowing where you're going, knowing the destination, and that the power that comes with having all those things together, as well as financial stability that gives you a balance in your life, wealth in all sorts of ways, not just necessarily financial. Everybody's different. Only you know what you have had to overcome, and there is no need to share it. So having that mentality lets you know who has reached a certain wealth in their lives. So we're going to continue to the next portion of today's talk is about the current global climate, and you have to have a good idea of what's happened in the past to understand what's happening now. And we have to probably go back to 1971 when they closed the gold window. Nixon closed the gold window in 1971. And ever since then, all Western economies have collectively kicked the can down the street. You can see that that's true by the budget problems that we have in this country, where we're always spending more than we're actually bringing in revenue or taxes or any other form of revenue for the country. So that's piling debt on top of debt is evidence of kicking the can down the street. And there are many symptoms from having done that over the course of 40, 50 years. Since 2008, when we bailed out all the banks, a financial bubble has been created. Actually, we've never seen anything like this in any economy that has ever existed in the world. We've created so much debt that we're in our uncharted waters. And if you're a sailor, you don't want to be in uncharted waters. It's risky, it's dangerous, you could ruin the vessel, you could kill everybody on board. So basically the way that translates to our economy is that it's risky, and things that used to be fairly certain or risk-free are now somewhat volatile, much more volatile than they've ever been in the past. And some of the words that the politicians have pushed upon us to actually create this bubble are things like QE1, QE2, QE3, and maybe there's going to be a QE4. And in Europe, they've done exactly the same thing. So it doesn't just apply to this country, because the money printing has been, or the money creation has been done by all the central banks across the world. All the nations have been involved in this, and they've created trillions and trillions of not only dollars but other currencies as well. Yen, euros, what's the word? Yen, I mentioned the yen, but there's also the yuan, the Chinese yuan. So when you've got just a few financial banks that have pretty much taken over the activity across the world, and that's pretty much what's happened in this country. There's about 5 large financial institutions that all transactions go through them, and when you create mismatches, possible companies going deeply into debt where they're nearly bankrupt already, and one company is reliant on the other one, whether it's insurance, whether it's diversification, whether it's other financial instruments that they've used to create this reliability on each other. When you've got that, it increases the possibility of contagion, which is what happened in 2008, where they were afraid if one large financial institution went down, it would take down all the others. And basically it's because the system is based on trust. So if I am concerned that you have accumulated so much debt, and you come to me one day and ask for a loan, I'm going to be very worried whether or not you're going to be able to pay back any more money that I might loan you. So I'm going to say no, I can't loan you any more money. And that can happen from one bank to the other, from one central bank to the other, from one nation to the other. All right, so here we've got some charts to add a little color to what we're talking about. Here we have the M2 money supply, aggregate money supply for the United States. We see since about 1971 the curve has gotten steeper and steeper and steeper until now it's pretty steep after 2013, as you can see there, and we've exceeded over $12 trillion in money creation in dollars. The next graph is the U.S. Housing Price Index since 1990, and as you can see, since about 1970s, the housing prices started taking off till now. We extremely steep in 2008. We had the whole financial debacle with the mortgage securities, and that's fell down, and now it's going back up. And then the next one you'll see is the 10-year gold chart, and you can see 2006 you could buy an ounce of gold for about $600 an ounce, and now an ounce of gold is worth about 1,250. So you can see how if you had gold you would have maintained your wealth. So to make clear that last point, if you had $600 in your pocket in 2006 and you went out and bought an ounce of gold with it, and you had another $600 that you just kept in US dollars and paper, today that same $600 in paper would be exactly that. $600 in paper. You may have earned some interest if you put it in the bank. The other $600 that was invested in the gold would now today would be worth 1,250. So more than doubling in a 10-year period. That's one way or one example that you can safeguard your wealth. Always in finance, the greater the risk, the higher the return. But can you take the risk is the question. How much risk can you take? Whatever road you take, whatever path you choose to go on, whether it's quick hit and runs or a long-term approach, you have to spend some time watching your investments, being aware of the market and outside forces such as politics, civil unrest, etc. Anything could happen. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week for the last session. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach me at the Northside Rainbow office. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend of great selling, and take care. See you soon.